For my 15 minutes to quilt today, I'm going to be putting together the columns that I've made for the Wonky Courthouse Steps quilt. This quilt is almost finished, but once I put the columns together, then I'll decide whether or not it needs to have some borders. Welcome back to Quilt in Color. My name is Shalina. I'm so glad that you're joining me again today for the 15 minutes to quilt challenge. I hope you get a chance to sew along with me so you can enter to win prizes. This is a pattern designed by Bonnie Hunter and is available free on her blog. I'll be sure to include a link to the pattern in the description box below. So I am showing this quilt to you on the design wall, and you can see that I have sewn all of the columns together, and today I just need to sew the columns to each other to form the quilt top. I did that on day 14 of the 15 minutes to quilt challenge this year. Okay, so let's put this quilt together. And stay tuned till the end for a discussion about improv piecing. I just turn the quilt in the opposite direction so that I can sew a different direction than the other seams, just to keep the quilt from stretching all in one direction. I try to keep the weight of the quilt on the table or on myself so that it doesn't create drag on the machine. That'll keep everything flowing smoothly without stretching the fabric. And I'm also holding onto the weight of the quilt so that, again, I'm not creating drag. So the weight of the quilt doesn't pull on the stitching. And I'm sewing one block at a time, one block section at a time. Sometimes I pin them together, but because this is a crooked quilt, a wonky quilt, it doesn't really matter. It's really easy for me right now to keep them in the right order, just because there's seams that match at every block. And I can just nest those seams as I go. And I keep my needle in the needle down position so that as I'm maneuvering this fabric around, the needle will still stay in the same spot. recorded this clip before sewing the columns together, just staring at the design wall. So I'm going to show you the finished quilt top instead. I'm showing you this quilt on the design wall, but I just wanted to let you know that I did not use the design wall to make any decisions on how to make this quilt. When I put the blocks together, I just put them randomly. I just put them together according to where they were in the stack. Although I did make sure that I had the darks and the lights going in the correct direction, I basically just sewed them together exactly the way they were in the stack. And also when I'm putting the columns together, I'm going to do the same thing. However they show up at the sewing machine, that's how I'm going to put them together in the quilt. So it's possible that the layout will look different from what you see now. One of the joys and frustrations, I think, for making an improv quilt is you have to allow chance to do some of the work for you. So instead of thinking through exactly where everything goes, you can just let serendipity happen the way it does. And sometimes, you know, things may not look exactly the way you would have planned it to be, but I think you may find that sometimes the end result is actually better than if you had planned it all along. If something is too perfect, I think that it does not quite have the zing and the energy. And I guess it's not perfection so much, but the fact that it showed up in an unexpected place actually gives a quilt more energy than it would have if you had planned it all along. So it's a matter of just breaking some of the rules or letting go of some of the rules. And I guess you could pretend that you're collaborating with a younger person who really doesn't know the rules, and that you're obligated to work with them and let their ideas go along too. So if that young child would say, well, this block comes here or this row goes with this row, then you're kind of obligated to allow that child their choice. And even though you may not have put it where they did, you don't want to make them feel like their opinion is not valued. Instead of collaborating with anybody, I feel like I'm just letting my inner child come out, where I don't have to follow the rules and I can just put the blocks together however they are and not stress so much about where they belong and where they don't belong. It's just a matter of just putting things where they are and just letting and not stressing so much about anything, and anything that happens is not really a mistake, it's a design choice. To me, an improv quilt is more freeing, but I do have to make sure that I give myself that freedom to be able to make the quilt in a very easy and intuitive way. Yeah, you just don't want to overthink it and just let your heart decide where everything goes instead of letting your brain do it. I hope that you enjoyed watching me make progress on this. Wonky Crooked Courthouse Steps quilt. It's a pattern that was designed by Bonnie Hunter, and I'll put a link to her blog, and I'll put a link to the pattern from her blog in the description box below. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of your support, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. It does look really good like that. It's really strange to me that when I look at the quilt itself, it doesn't have all the design is not so obvious when I'm looking at it on the design wall, but when I'm looking at it on the camera screen, I can easily see the whole pattern. So sometimes it really helps to see the quilt in the picture. Sometimes it really helps to take a picture so that you can see the quilt the way you'll see it when it's finished. Sometimes it really helps to take a picture so you can see the design on the quilt. Sometimes it really has to take a picture so you can really see the pattern. This video is a part of a series of videos for the 15 Minutes to Quilt Challenge. Every day this month, I'm showing you a video where I'm making progress on one of my quilts. I hope that you got a chance to sew along with me today so that you can enter to win prizes. It's really easy to enter for a prize for this challenge. I'm giving away 2 copies of a book that I wrote especially for quilters that I really think you're going to enjoy. The first way to enter is just to sew along with me for 15 minutes. And if you did sew for 15 minutes today, just leave a comment to let me know what you worked on today, and I'll give you an entry in the drawing. The second way for you to enter is simply to just watch my video, and if you did that, just leave a comment about something that happened in the video today and you get the second entry. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate all of your support, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.